Alright, hey guys, it's Jake from Team Insanity, and we are going to do the DM12 review. So I got this thing used. I didn't get it new. I got it used for $50 off of a local player that plays at Crew. So, first things first, nice hardcover dye case. Well, it's not a hardcover. It's like a soft padded, but it's pretty hard. Gets the job done. I suggest if you do buy one and you get it used, make sure that comes with the hardcover. So we upload every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. We upload gameplay in our Wednesdays, our Ask Us Anything segment if you are not a normal subscriber. And then Sundays, we also upload. We upload our reviews and rants and everything else that you guys want to see. So get in your requests. So first things first, box is great. Pull out the gun. And so in the box, if you bought it new, by the way, this is going to be titled DM12/DM13 review, because the DM13, the only difference is the milling at the window. But I bought a DM12 instead of a DM13. The reason why is I really didn't want to feel like reselling it, and I like the milling better on the DM12. So, first things first, in the box, normally you have Allen wrenches up here and lube, but you also get a dye tool. You get the nice dye tool and a spare parts kit and all that stuff. I don't have that in here. And then you get the manual, usually a battery, and a shitty barrel cover. So that's the box. Now, this is what the normal bolt is. This is the normal bolt. I'll go over this in a second. But this is what the gun looks like. It has a 14-inch Dye ultralight barrel, which, by the way, I think Dye makes the best barrels, hands down by far. They're better than any shaft barrel. I think I know they're way better than the shaft 4 barrels. I think they're way better. They look way cooler. They perform way better. They're quieter. I think Dye makes some of the best barrels out there, especially the boomsticks and everything else. Sorry if it's windy and you hear birds and stuff. We're outside if you can't tell. But yeah, so I think that this Dye ultralight barrel, amazing barrel. They also have it on the Proto Rail. So hands down, amazing fucking barrel, cannot go wrong. Feed neck, you know, I do like the feed neck because it is a little, it's like a cam lock twist feed neck. So some feed necks you have like a little screw, or maybe you have to take an Allen wrench to adjust it, or you have like a little finger tightener thing or whatever. But the problem with that is if you accidentally, say you're playing at the field and you accidentally unscrew it too much, screw falls in the dirt, you're fucked. So I like how Dye, you don't have to actually have a screw, you just twist it and turn it, and it gets to the preferred, it fits right to your hopper. You just take it, close her up, and bada bing bada boom. It's that easy. No big deal. It works awesome. I do love the feed neck. It's got an awesome regulator. You know, I think they could have gone, the grips for me, they're a little bit too fragile for my liking. You know, when you start taking off the grips, if you pull them in a wrong way, or if you try to slide them off a wrong way, they can rip. Like mine have ripped a little bit from trying to pull it off. And the macro line is normally straight. Just the problem is that my macro line was too short and it was leaking. And I'm in Arizona right now, so I had to take a long piece of macro line. And I don't have anything to cut it with. I took the biggest piece. I took the only piece that was in my gear bag to shove it in there to stop it from leaking. So normally it'd be a straight profile, but I don't have anything to cut the macro line with me at the moment, and I really don't feel like fucking with it because I fixed it, and that's, you know, a rare occurrence if you know me. So yeah, normally it's just a nice straight profile. It's really nice, it's really sleek, it's really smooth, and I definitely like the ergonomics. This is Dye, for one, makes one of the most comfortable guns. I have to say, Bob Long nails it, Dye nails it, and Plain Eclipse nails it with their ergonomics, especially Dye. I think that it just feels so comfortable in the hands, and the grip frame is so, I really love Dye grip frames. I held the GSL not too long ago. I held the GSL and the Geo 3.1. Amazing feeling guns, absolutely amazing. I don't really necessarily like how the Ego feels, like the Ego 11 or the CSL or anything like that, until the Ego 11, because it doesn't, you know, have the LPR, and you can't really wrap your thumb around the barrel. And I really like how they have the designed grip up here, so if you do want to wrap your thumb around the barrel, is that you do get that extra grip, so it's not just like an aluminum anodizing that your hands are slipping off of. Like if you have like a G6R or some like a Bob Long gun, and you just have the straight regulator and you get paint or you get rub on it, then you kind of know what it's like to have your hand sliding around. Dye, their sticky grips, awesome. I've had these things just caked in white paint, and I can still grip it really, really well, get a nice, really, really comfortable feel, and it feels amazing. It's nice and tight. If I want to, I can do so much with it, and it feels, you know, it fits to everyone's personality. I see everyone be able, when I say, here, you want to hold my gun, everyone holds it a different way, and they always say, oh, this is so comfortable, and it fits to you. If you like to wrap your hand around, or your thumb up around the barrel like I do sometimes to get that really tight feel, then you can do that. Some people like to hold it like this, like an Ego or something like that. You can do that with this gun. That's what I really, really enjoy with having this Dye gun, is that you can do so much and it feels so amazing. You don't have an LPR hanging down, or there's nothing in the way. It's straightforward, very, very easy to handle. So and I love the grip frame. Like I said, the grips are kind of a pain in the ass, and there's no OLED board, which could have been better, which I think they could have fixed. But you know, if you play mainly at one field, like me, or if all the fields you play at is 12.5 balls a second or 10 balls a second, whatever, having an OLED board doesn't really do much for you. I think having the OLED board does a lot more for you if you're playing at, like, if you're traveling and you go to so many different fields, and sometimes one field is semi, sometimes one field is 10 balls, sometimes it's 12 balls and whatever, then you can switch it on the fly when you get to the field. But Dye, at least they made it to where there's no screws on the grips where you have to take it, like the reflex rails, like you have to take it and unscrew it. You just pull off the grips and then you get to the board. But I wish that you still wouldn't have to pull off the grips. You know, in a $1,200 gun, you know, when it came out, I really don't think that you should have to pull off the grips. If the dangerous power guns, all you have to do is hold down the trigger and press a button and it goes into programming mode, I think Dye could have done that. I really, really do. I think Dye could have gone over that and made the board a little bit better and easier to program. Whatever, I think that they can do better in the future with their boards and stuff. Reach trigger, I have to say, you know, I'm kind of, you know, I really do love this trigger and how I have it set up. But I've had better triggers, but I've had way worse triggers. That's my take on it. It's a very, very nice, crisp trigger. A lot of people love it, but I have to say, I really think the Empire Vanquish trigger's better. I think the Axe trigger's better, by far. I mean, but it's this great trigger. You can play semi with it. I've played semi with it. If you guys watch the rail videos, it's the same exact trigger, reach trigger. I took out the micro switch spring in mine. Works perfectly fine. That's just my preference. I tend to be able to walk a little bit better. I take out the micro switch spring and I turn down the D-bounce a little bit so it doesn't bounce as much, so I don't get flagged or whatever for semi, even though there's no flags in rec ball. But now the other thing that I really don't like, just the biggest thing that I don't like in general, is the Dye ASA. Let's go, Dye. I fucking hate these Dye ASAs, okay? Not gonna lie. I like the E-Tech 4 ASA better than this. I like the Etha ASA. I like the Pops ASA. I like Planet Eclipse ASAs way better than this. Number one, mine's kind of fucked up. My ASA, I still have to get it fixed. It's a $2 little ASA pin in there, but it takes like 5 hours to take this whole entire, not really 5 hours, but it's a pain in the ass to take this apart just to get to that, and you have to have the Dye tool to take apart this ASA to fix it. Whatever, I mean, it is what it is. I have to fix it. You know, can't really say much about it, but I do think that they could do better with this ASA. It works, but the only thing is just the on-off lever. That's just what I don't like about it. Just the biggest thing. This is just the biggest pain in the fucking ass. If you have big hands you have gloves on and you forget to turn your ASA on during a game. I've had that happen before. I've had like my half gloves on and everything. I've had gloves on and I forgot to turn my ASA on for the first game of the day, and I'm sitting there like trying to fucking just wrench this thing down so it'll turn on, and it is a pain in the ass. It is like impossible to get this thing to turn on if you have gloves on, or you rubbed up against a bunker and it's really, really oily and slick. I think that they could go better like a Resurrection ASA, like the big ASA knob, or like the Dangerous Power big ASA knob, or even like the screw ASA, anything like that. I just really do not like this whole lever thing. That's my take on it. I mean, it works, but I think it's a pain in the ass. Out of all the ASAs that are out there on the market, it works, it's fine, it's sleek, and it's low profile, but other than that, I mean, meh. The little lever is a pain in the ass. So it also has an LBR, an LPR, low pressure regulator, and a high pressure reg. That helps a lot for tuning. Amazing help for tuning. So you can get amazing shot-to-shot consistency, and you can turn it down. You can really tune it to how you want. If you want to get a little bit more cases out of it, and you don't really necessarily want the smoothest shot in the world, you can turn up your LPR. But if you're shooting really, really brittle paint, you can turn down your LPR and get a little bit less efficiency and all kinds. I mean, there's so much you can do to tune this thing, and it shoots butter. I'm telling you, this thing is so smooth. Once you put, now I have to say, if you buy it brand new, a DM12, any DM actually, a DM of like a DM4, DM5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14 right now, it's not gonna shoot fucking amazing out of the box. Okay, it shoots good out of the box, but it's not gonna shoot like absolute as smooth as possible. It's like that with the Lux. It's like that somewhat with the Geo. Not as much with the Geos, but it's like that with Luxes. It's like that with a lot of schools. So when you get it, and it's not the most crisp, smooth shot that you know, that you've heard, don't get discouraged. But yeah, let's bring the camera in and let's take a closer look. But yeah, remember, just before you start really tuning it and getting discouraged about how bad it's shooting or how not smooth you thought it would shoot, just remember, put some nice cases through it, and it's gonna shoot amazing. This thing shoots butter. It shoots awesome. When I first got it and I rebuilt the whole thing and got the new bolt and everything put in it, it did chop a little bit, and I did have to tune it and play around with the LPR. Once I got 5, 6, 7 cases through there, amazing, perfect. So let's bring the camera in a little bit closer. I'll show you how to maintenance the bolt, and then we'll come back out for the conclusion. Alright, so this is how you maintenance your DM12. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy. Right now, inside of it, sorry for the wind, it's a little bit windy because we're outside. Inside, I have the Billy Wing bolt. As you can tell, I have the carbon fiber sleeve on it. But first things first, before I take this apart and show you the biggest mistake that I see people using with dye guns and DMs and NTs is that they're not using sleek. This is Dowel 33. They're either not using sleek or the dye lube. Get some goddamn sleek or some dye lube, okay? I cannot stress that enough. Do not use hater sauce. Do not use gun salve. Do not use monkey poo or anything else. Get some sleek. It will work amazing on your gun. It'll work wonders. Next thing is, if you've never owned a spool, I for sure recommend you getting an O-ring kit. Mine's not color-coded, but they do make the color-coded O-rings out there. I could honestly care less if mine are color-coded. But here is the normal bolt. Mine, I have, like I said, I have the Billy Wing bolt in there. I'll go over the Billy Wing bolt separately. Maybe in another video. I'll touch on it in this video. But yeah, this is what the normal bolt looks like. The sleeve matches the accents on the gun, so pretty cool. But yeah, let me just put this back aside. Don't need this bolt. So, first things, you know, the next thing for sure is you can torque this down with an Allen key, but you don't really need to. I don't use my Allen wrenches unless if I absolutely need to. But what you can do is take this, and it's on a little magnet system. You take it, you pull it, and you just start turning, and bada bing bada boom, bad boy will come right out. Comes right out. set your gun to the side, and as you can see, here's the bolt. This is the Billy Wing bolt. I just got it about 1.5 cases through it, so it's pretty damn fresh. Now the Billy Wing bolt, it's a hand polished bolt, and it gives you better shot-to-shot consistency, and it allows you to lower your LPR, which increases, if you can lower your LPR, it increases or it decreases the amount of possible breaks that your gun has, because it can operate on a lower operating pressure. That also helps it, you know, be a little bit more consistent, be smoother, shoot quieter, just all around get better performance. So far, have I noticed a big change? You know, I have a little bit since I haven't really tried to tune it a whole ton. I turned my LPR down, you know, just half a turn so far. I haven't turned it down a full turn, but I did notice just a little bit. I'm taking it one little step at a time. Like I said, you don't want to over tune it right when you first get this. I'm letting the O-rings break in and everything. So first, to take this apart, just unscrew this little back cap thing. Just get rid of that, set that off to the side. And you take the sleeve and you just turn that. Take the sleeve. Now, you don't have to lube the sleeve or anything. If you want to, lube the threads on the inside. Don't really need to. I lube the threads just a little bit just for safety measures, but you shouldn't really get any dirt or debris or anything on here. Sometimes on the outside you get paint if you got shot there, or dirt. Just wipe that off. It's not really going to do anything. But here is the rest of the bolt itself without the sleeve on it. This is like the big guts. And then the next part, just separate these two halves. This comes off like this. And now normally, I already took the front O-ring off just so I don't fiddle around with it, but there's usually a blue front O-ring on here. You take that, you pinch it off, you tear off the O-ring, and then that way you can pull it off. And then what I actually do is I take this, I set this off to the side. Now, this is the most important part. If you're leaking down the barrel, or if you're having a barrel leak or anything like that, or you're leaking in your breech or anything like that, check your sail O-ring. Biggest 9 times out of 10, if your DM is leaking anywhere, change the sail O-ring. Okay, just telling you that. Get a bunch of sail O-rings, change that, because if you're gonna have problems, this is where it's gonna happen. It's not really gonna happen anywhere else. If it's leaking out of the back, then that's when you start changing the back cap O-rings. But normally, if you're leaking down the barrel or anywhere else, you know, sometimes it sounds like it's coming from the LPR, but it's just venting sometimes, and it's really just coming from this sail O-ring. So if you're having some leaking, replace that O-ring, and usually that fixes it. Now, I have to say with dye guns, now don't forget to wipe it down. Dye guns, I say more lube is worse. You don't want to really over lube it. Less is more in the situations with DMs and NTs and any dye gun basically, even spools in general. You don't, I'm just wiping down the O-rings and everything, but more is gonna hurt it. You know, you're not really you're not gonna get a whole ton performance out of caping a bunch of lube on there and everything. You're just gonna waste lube, and at the first game, you're just gonna shoot it all down the barrel. So you don't really need to over lube it. Now I forgot I need to get bolt sail bolt tip 014. So I just need to get the O-ring out because I kind of forgot. 14. Now this is really nice and easy. So I got my bolt, the front bolt O-ring. Now, like I said, just wipe this down. Make sure you get all the old grease, all the old shit off of it, all the old dirt. If you have any dirt or anything on there, just get all that crap off of it. And yeah, now what I do, just set that off to the side now. Now you bring the can and all the cylinders and everything else in. Move this other O-ring off to the side. Now, if you, the first time that you do maintenance your DM13 or DM12, there is an O-ring on the inside. So, like I said, this gun has a lot of O-rings. Spools in general have a lot of O-rings and a lot of seals, so there's more that can go wrong with them. Some people don't like to have more O-rings. Some people like the Ego style and have it nice and simple, just a plain Delrin bolt with either 0 O-rings on it, and you know, I mean, some people like that, but with spools, one of the most commonly asked questions is what's the difference? Spool, you're going to get a way smoother, way better performing shot. It's going to feel smoother, and it's going to be quieter than a poppet. And that's just one of the biggest main differences. But the thing is that there's more O-rings, so there's more that can go wrong. Normally not a lot of stuff goes wrong with these guns, but if something does happen, and like I said, it's not the sail O-ring, then it is a pain in the ass to have to tear apart the whole entire gun just to and change all the O-rings just to figure out that it was just one simple little O-ring or anything like that. It is a big pain in the ass, and some people don't like that. So spools aren't for everyone. A lot of people ask that in the Ask Us Anything video. Hey, what's the big difference between a spool and a poppet? You know, that's a big difference. But it's easy to maintain. You know, it's not like this is really that difficult. You just have to wipe off all the lube. So now that I got all the lube wiped off, and make sure that you get all the inside O-rings wiped off, get the back cap, get all the dirt and debris and everything off of it. Now remember what I said, sleek or dye lube, or Dye 33, it's all the same. Get some sleek, and like I said, less is more. Don't use a whole ton. You don't want to use a whole lot of lube. And I actually, I lube this piece first, because I don't like lubing the outside. I like to lube the outside last, because then, you know, I'm not touching it when it's all lubed and trying to put it all back together, and I have oily hands and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna take, it says how much lube I'm using. There's not that much, and I'm using a little bit more than I normally do, but that's just to help it break in just a little. I'm not using a whole ton, just to coat the O-rings. You don't, just so they look a little shiny. You don't want them to look, you know, you don't want them to look like you just dipped it in water, but you want it to give it a nice little coat, so you can just kind of see it. You can sort of see it on the seams of the O-rings, just so you know that it's there, but it's not too much. Let me just set that up like this. Take another little dab for the back O-rings. So that's all you do for this part of the bolt. And what I do is I usually just keep this standing up, if I can get it to stand up. Hold on, let me stand it up someplace else. There we go. And then, like I said, I like to work on the outside and I like to work on the inside and work my way out, because then, you know, I don't have to touch these greasy O-rings. I like to do that last. And so, not that much lube again, and that's just going to be for this inside O-ring. That was actually a little bit too much, so I'm going to take a little bit off. Only one O-ring in there. Just do that. There's an O-ring on the back of this. Just let's lube this up. Give that a nice little coat. There's one right here, inside of here. Alrighty. Now we got the inside O-rings. Just grab the bolt. Put that in there. Now remember, I didn't lube the outside O-ring, so don't have much to worry about. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lube these outside O-rings now, these green ones. Like I said, I'm not using too much lube. I'm using enough. I'm not overdoing it, but I'm giving it a nice coat so it's nice and it's silky, I guess you can say. And I take this part and just slide her on. Screw it back together. Boom. I like to work in the lube a little bit. I like to work it in just, and then you take your front O-ring. You don't really need a whole ton of lube on there. There we go. Let's take the front O-ring. Like I said, I really don't use color-coded O-rings with this O-ring kit. It tells me where all the O-rings go on here. And I basically know the big ones, where the big ones go, where the big green ones go. I mean, old-fashioned, old school guy. Just gonna take the can, and like I said, you don't really need to do much with the can, and actually the threads are already pretty damn lubed. Let's take the can, put it back on like this, and that's how you maintenance this part of the bolt. Now, what you do is next part, take the back cap. You know, not really too much to it. If you do start leaking out of your back cap, the first O-ring I would replace is this back one. Then the next one would be this front one. And then, you know, if not, then in doubt, or no, go this way. So if you're leaking out your back cap, you replace this one. If it's still leaking, then you replace this one. If it's still leaking, then you replace the third one. That's how I always do it. And I replaced all of them today. So just give it a nice little coat. Not really gonna, don't really worry about it a whole lot. And then just take this, screw back in. That's pretty easy. Now in the later DMs, even in my reflex rail, a lot of people would take it, throw it down to see if it had enough lube on it or if it would budge. But I notice I can do it with this bolt, but this bolt still is kind of new. Like I said, there's barely even a case on it, so I can't really get it to fly out yet. But normally if you take it and you flick it, the bolt will fly right out, and then you can push it back in, flick it, and it comes back out. I do it with my rail all the time, and it's a little bit stiffer than all the older DM bolts where you take it, flick it, put it back in, and you know that when you can take it and flick it when it flies out, then you know that you can for sure tune it to get it to its maximum performance, and it's going to be smoother. So yeah, just give these O-rings a little bit of a coat. Not too big of a deal. Pretty simple, real easy. Now you put the bolt to the side. The RPR, not going to show you how to maintenance that. There's really not much to it. The only thing is when you're tuning it, if you go turn it off, do not screw it in all the way. Once you feel a little bit, once it gets tight a little bit, just stop. Okay, because if you keep on, it can keep on turning. Once you feel it get taut, that's when you really want to stop turning it, because you're just going to take it and you're just going to drive the LPR right into the seat, and it's just going to leak and be destroyed. When I bought mine used, I had to replace that because the guy before me messed it up. Now I'm going to take this. I'd like to pull it out, and I like push it in first, and don't really turn it, don't screw it, because then you're just going to screw the O-rings on the threads. Push it in until you know that it's in there, and then you screw it, because then you won't have to replace O-rings. And that's all there is for bolt maintenance. Not too hard. And again, Dye also has an eye-pipe system on the inside, so if you do dry fire this gun, make sure that you have a barrel back on it so your eye pipe doesn't fly out, and it's very, very fragile. So yeah, eye pipe very, very fragile, so when you take it out, don't try to jam it in there. It does cost money to replace it, just like it costs money to replace everything. So you want to be very, very careful with that. I go way in depth on it on the reflex rail review, so go watch that review if you want to know a lot more about eye pipe systems. But really, just be careful with it. Don't try jamming it in there. Just try to work it in there. Take it out, wash it off. Don't take a squeegee to it when it's out. It'll be fine once it's in there, but you don't want to crack it. You don't want to drop it. But yeah, so let's take the camera out and let's do the conclusion on the DM12. Okay, so to recap on the DM12, amazing gun. Of course, first things first, if you skip the maintenance video, make sure you get the right lube. Make sure you get good O-rings. But I have to say, this gun, if you're very picky with ergonomics and you play a certain style, or you like to play certain, different ways, maybe you like to hold it this way with your right hand and this way with your left hand or whatever, you can do that with this gun. Grip frame, one of probably like the most comfortable gun that I've held in my hands. I love the Bob Long Ripper. I've held DJ's Ripper, I've held G6Rs, I've held a lot of Bob Long guns. Bob Long nails it with his ergonomics, Planet nails it with their ergonomics. But the thing is, with the egos and stuff, they have the LPR sticking out, so you can't always wrap your thumb up like you can with some of the guns. But this isn't an ego, this isn't a poppet, this is a nice spool. My God, these guns shoot absolute butter. Okay, this thing is so smooth. It's not fully Lux smooth. The Lux is still one of the smoothest guns that I've ever shot. But goddamn, the performance that you get out of this, and how you can tune it, and the looks and the anodizing that Dye gives you is absolutely amazing. I think that this thing is jam-packed with a lot of features. I like the trigger. I mean, it's not the best trigger, but it's for sure not the worst trigger. Love the feed neck. The barrel, my god, Dye nails it with their barrels. One of the best shooting guns. It's on point every single time. Very, very, very accurate. As you can see, sometimes when I'm in the snake and someone comes and runs me down, or, you know, sometimes just have that split-second decision where I have to just think and then be on target with one ball. This gun can do it, no problem. It is very, very accurate, very, very smooth. Ergonomics, like I said, I cannot get over how amazing this thing feels in the hands. It's the same exact thing with the DM13. Nothing changed except for the window milling up here. But I have to say, if you're thinking about buying a DM12 and you find one used, I think this is an amazing gun. This is one gun that I probably won't end up selling. This is probably one gun that I will keep for a very, very, very long time and just make it my own. I'm thinking about putting white grips on it and just, you know, doing my own thing with this. Not really I just kind of want to put a lot of money into it and just keep it for myself. Keep it for a long time. That's what I see what a lot of guys do with their DMs. So I really just want to keep this gun, make it my own. White grip the shit out of it. Just keep this gun forever. This is one gun that I want to keep forever. Make it my own. Honestly, I feel like owning it for a very, very long time to come. If you're thinking about buying a DM12 or a DM13 or something like that, I'd have to say get it. It is an awesome shooting gun. Put one in your hands, feel it. You can conform to however you want to hold it. The grip frame feels amazing. Everything feels amazing about it. It's sleek, very thin profile. Like I said, my macro line's hanging out a little bit because I don't have anything to cut it with at the moment. But beyond that fact, I think it's an amazing shooting gun, especially for how they're selling used for like under $500. I think that's an amazing price for this gun. It shoots absolutely amazing. You cannot beat the price for it. But yeah, I'd have to say buy one of these guns if you're thinking about it. Awesome shooting gun. So yeah, I guess that's it for the review. But now I'm going to talk about the Billy Wing Bolt. So the Billy Wing Bolt, I'd have to say a lot of people see a lot of improvements with it. I have seen a little bit of an improvement. I'm going to go, as I go on, I might make a separate review for it and do like an efficiency test or something like that. But the Billy Wing Bolt, so far, I mean, I'm trying not to judge it super fast because, I mean, I can't really like tune it when I haven't even put a full 5 cases through it. I did turn down the LPR a little bit, did make it a little bit smoother, made it, I mean, not really too much smoother, but, you know, it makes a little bit of a difference to shot consistency. I noticed over the chrono and that kind of stuff. But yeah, hopefully it'll make it even quieter, and this gun's already pretty damn quiet, shoots pretty damn amazing already. So yeah, that's what I got for the DM12. Hope you guys enjoyed. Get in what you want to see for the next few reviews. We're gonna do some more reviews while we're here in Arizona, but get in your requests for all the videos that you want to see. That's all I got. Thanks for watching Team Insanity.